This is Commander Shepard. Welcome to Robofet's Bounty.
You will learn the real truth about how 4 ordinary household pets became wisecracking amphibians. Pizza-loving amphibians. Amphibians. Amphibians.
The WWF, what the world is watching.
WWF figures with real wrestling action. Jake the Snake Roberts versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Yeah. DiBiase lands a $1 million punch. Match Hulk Hogan against the Macho King Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah, my elbow smash will finish Hogan, guaranteed.
Hogan slams him again. Match Andre the Giant against the Ultimate Warrior. Andre will squash the Ultimate Maniac. WWF figures so close to the real thing, it's like being in the ring.
Right, so I'm going to, it's time to talk about some of the figures that I love and some of the figures I don't love as much. So the only way to start this video was the reason I got into wrestling in general, and then as a result of figures, was because randomly, because of this man.
Long sideburns and my hair slicked back, I'm coming to your town, and my pink Cadillac, I'm just a honky-tonk man.
This is the honky-tonk man, and to talk about the figure, it's amazing. It's got this really cool custom accessory. I won't take it off. And it's really cool. It's got some great detailing on the figure, and I love it. The story behind it was that I think a 6 or 7 year old Dan was watching a Survivor Series VHS we had. I'm not sure how come about it, but we had it. We watched it. I think I might have borrowed it from a friend actually. You know, at sort of 6 or 7 years old, it was cool to watch these videos, and so anyway, so I watched this video of this guy coming to the ring, and then they went to announce his opponent, and lo and behold, there was no opponent, and so he did what any good wrestler should do, and told everyone that he would fight anyone out there, and of course, before you know it, this man arrived running into the ring, and within about 5 minutes or so, pinned him, maybe even quicker, 2 minutes, and from that moment onwards I was hooked to wrestling because it was a cool story. This guy called out anyone he wanted. This guy came out and beat him in 2 minutes, kicked his ass, and that was it. So I picked this figure purely because he's amazing, his mould's amazing, and he really, along with Honky Tonk Man, really got me into the wrestling. So for that reason, these two are in the good list. And I suppose staying on the idea of the good list is this man. He recently passed away. He had many a battle with The Undertaker, Andre the Giant, a few other wrestlers, and for me, again, he created a brilliant story. I think they could have done justice for this figure. I never quite understood this whole glued leg thing, but I can see what they were trying to do. They're trying to create a character that jumped, and because his move was to splash, I suppose you could see why they wanted to do that. His special move was a sort of big splash. This was an accessory that never came with it. It came with an Elite line. But I strongly recommend you get hold of one and put it on your Kamala figure because scale wise it looks absolutely awesome. So yes, he goes on my brilliant list. Let's talk about the man that made, for me, that made wrestling cool, Hulk Hogan. had plenty of bad press, and don't really want to discuss that. I just want to discuss the fact that his figures were so cool. He's had 4 or 5 figures, I believe. There's definitely 4. Then there's a mail away, which I don't own. I'd quite like to own that. This is my favourite figure. I love this punch action, and if you look at you won't be. I always fail miserably at trying to show everyone the detailing on the bandana, but it's got great detailing on there. That is a brilliant figure, and for me, it wouldn't be a video. It wouldn't be a WWF review if I didn't discuss that guy. When I talk about wrestling figures, I talk about the ones I like. There's no figure I dislike, but I feel that they could have made the figures better, and for that reason, I'm going to discuss this man. This is Ric Flair. If you didn't realise, doesn't really look like Ric Flair, and I'm not sure that the body really does him any justice. I think bearing in mind what they achieved with so many wrestlers in this line, to create this man like this was, and for him to be such an iconic legend of wrestling, I think it was a bit of an insult to him. Having said that, it wouldn't be Hasbro if we didn't have this line, so he's still in the light pile, but I think they could have done a lot more with him. And likewise, I suppose, I've got one of my holy grails is by 123 Kid. I suppose he wasn't as famous, and he came out in the sort of later series, I believe around 1994. Good figure, but there's not much to it, and you'll find a lot of the collectors of Hasbro, or certainly the ones that I talk to, don't care much for this figure for 2 reasons. One, because it's stupidly expensive, and I was fortunate enough to get this when prices hadn't rocketed. But the other reason is that there's no nostalgia like the other figures. He is a figure that was at the later end of the Hasbro collecting. By that point, people are either growing out of it or growing out for the love of this particular era. So he's a bit of a sort of, I mean, I'm chuffed I've got him, but some people love him, some people hate him. And another one of the Series 11 figures that I have is Mr. Borger. Now, I'll never understand why they brought him out as an action figure when there were so many other figures that they could have, or wrestlers that they could have chose. That's something that Hasbro, I have to explain. I'm not a big fan of this figure at all, but even to the point where, if you look really carefully, this was another figure which they'd actually painted, and if you can see the detailing there, his skin over the boot. Never quite sure what figure that is, but the point is there was almost like a, let's just make another figure for the purposes of getting that out. And again, when you look at the Series 11s, where it was at the end of the sort of last few figures that they were making, for me, it's not a figure that I particularly like, but don't dislike. I've got to have him to complete the set, but of all the figures there are in the line, he's definitely not my favourite. And there's loads of honorary mentions. I'd like to mention Andre the Giant, brilliant figure. The Razor Ramon figures, the Bushwhacker figures with the hats. I'm just looking at my collection, and as I talk to think if there's anything else I want to speak about. I suppose there's one other figure I'll talk about here, one final figure. This is probably one of my favourite in the whole collection. This was a real pain to get to the UK. This is Dusty Rhodes. He comes with a nice little loose arm here, and white boots. I hear stories of there being a yellow boot variant, but in my opinion that's nonsense. It's just a bit of fading. He's not in the best condition, but I love this figure. I'd say I probably like this the most. He wasn't the hardest figure to get in my collection, but by no means was he an easy figure to get at a good price. And if you think about what he did for wrestling, from a nostalgia perspective, he's brilliant. So if you're in the UK and you've got one of these, you've done well, because I think they're really hard to find, and they're a lot easier in America. I think that was because they never actually released them, but don't quote me on that. So that's everything. That's my talk on the Hasbro line. and I hope you enjoyed having a listen. I could talk about these figures all day. I think that's everything. Thank you.
I am the ultimate badass. Yeah. State of the badass art.
Ripley, 8-Bone, Bishop, and I'm Hicks, armed with the latest high-tech heavy metal.
Look out, Hicks! The Queen's gonna crown ya! My bug walker's on a roll! Bull alien attacking! Eat torch, bug brain!
Alien invasion problem? Send in the Marines!
Send in the Marines! I only need to know one thing. Where they are. Anytime, anywhere. Right.
Hello, this is Rob from Robert Fett's Bounty, and my favourite toy line from the 80s, 90s or early 90s will be the Kenner Alien vs Predator line. This started off as a potential cartoon series that never happened, but they still released the toys. Let's spin the camera around and have a look. Right, this is going to be a quick overview of the line. So these figures are fantastic. Let's start off with the modern. This is this year's Leonard range. That Big Queen, there's £20, but they're just reminiscent of the original Kenner figures. We have a 90s power load there, in some Resurrection and AVP figures, a couple of Reaction, and a vintage Snake Alien. All these aliens come from different creatures on Earth. We quickly pan down for some Marines, and then we have an up close and personal look at my favourite figures. Got some Predators at the back, some vehicles, a couple of Queens. Let's flip the camera around and have a closer look. The Kenner Alien toys were a 1992 line of action figures and accessories based on the Alien franchise, mainly the 1986 film Alien.
Hey Ripley, don't worry. Me and my squad of ultimate badasses will protect you.
Right, let's take a look at some Space Marines. The first one we have is Ripley. She's got a flamethrower there. So we have Ripley there. Here we have Drake. So the first, I say 2 seasons, they concentrated on Marines, then they moved more into the Alien vs Predator. We have Apone here. Nothing like the character in the film, but say these were based on an unreleased cartoon show. Quite a rare one here. You've got Vasquez in a variant costume. And then you've got the normal Vasquez there. Let's get them over the back. We have Hicks. Bishop, as you can tell, his likeness is fantastic. We have Hudson, another really hard one to get hold of. And the last 2 are made up just for the line. If I get them standing up. Right, we've got a guy called O'Malley. He's got this weird accessory which does that. And we have Atax, who is a guy dressed up as an alien to infiltrate the Hive, and he comes to pieces. Yep, there's the Marines. Boom. Right, let's take a look at my top 5 aliens. Number 5, we have the Ball Alien. It's got a little action feature where you flip this little button, head flies out, another little button at the back. Yeah, cool looking figure. That is the Ball Alien. Number 4, we have the Gorilla Alien. This one, you dip him in water, squeeze his head and he'll fire water out. He's also the hugging type. That is the Gorilla Alien. Number 3, we have, controversially, the Queen. This one, the best likeness in the range, apart from having 6 arms, so I had 4 in the film. A little squidgy bit at the back, you press it, and her tongue will come out. There is the Queen. Number 2, and incredibly hard to stand up, is the Snake Alien. This action feature, a bit along the head, move forward and the tendrils come out. And yeah, it's got like a wire frame, so you do have to obviously try and balance it right, or it will just fall over. I don't know what to say, we'll have to get him out of sight. And my favourite one, which is a new arrival, just come today, is the Swarm Alien. It's a bit random, but as you pull his top bit off, you got that alien there, and a little flying one that makes noises. It's a bit different, very unusual. And with most of these aliens, they did come with little tiny face huggers that you can literally stick on your fingers. And you get a chest burster with the Queen. I have 2. Now let's have a look at the Predator figures. See you soon.
These steel-jawed beasts have a hunger for destruction. Can they be stopped by the ultimate galactic hunter? Predator! The battle is on. Aliens versus Predator, the hunter against the beast. An alien killer crab attacks, but the Predator crack tusk fires shoulder-mount missiles, and Predator scavenge attacks with a double-barreled bola, each sold separately. Will the Predator win the battle against the evil aliens? Aliens versus Predator! Now get a special 2-pack with an exclusive Dark Horse comic.
So here you see the Predator Zone. And we have one vehicle here. Let's take a closer look, shall we? So this is the clan leader. Unfortunately, his talons are broken and they do whirl around. This is obviously the competitor to the Queen, the clan leader there. I don't know these names, unfortunately. I should have done a bit more research, but I was in a rush. So we have, this one was a double pack, the first double pack to come with an alien. Reveal the face. There you go, traditional looking Predator. I think this is the best one that come out in the range, to be honest. Stand up there. This one's, should have put some factor 10 on Predator. He's got his massive cannon on his shoulder. I think this is Broken Tusk, he might be called, because he has got a broken tusk. This one come in 2 different colour variations. That's quite a cool infrared one. Here we have One Eye Willie. This is more mechanical, this one. Let's get his mask off. Strange little hair piece he's got going on. Bit of a comb over on the back. And he has got a rocket feature on the back. Get him over there. We have this dude here. His head is permanently on an angle because these dreads are in the way. Take his mask on. Yeah, no, these are cool figures and still relatively cheap to get a hold of. Stand him at the back. This dude, last dude, comes with this big old gun with a head on a staff as a weapon. There's his face. He does come with a mask that you can put over there, but it just keeps falling off. So it goes over his tusks. Just about. And that is the Predator range. Get this vehicle over.
Robert Fitz Bounty signing off. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. See you real soon.
He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
Let's croak us some toes.
Robert Fitz Bounty signing off. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. See you real soon.